It's a 1955, what they call standard coach, Gillig, originally delivered to Tahoe Truckee Schools in 1955. It had originally it had a 450 international engine. It got upgraded to a 501 Red Diamond sometime in the late 60s, early 70s. This is the bus that they came out with, the transit coach, to try to blend in with the conventionals, because Gillig was a big conventional customer at the time. It does have a 5-speed transmission, and very classic in every sense of the word. You look inside there, you can kind of see the dash components. It has the international gauges, and very cool. Tahoe Truckee was a large Gillig fleet back in the day, and this is, like I said, a gasoline engine, and it's got all these draw knobs, you know, it's got the classic horn ring that was popular in the 1950s, widely used with the Ross Camel lever steering. So yeah, it's definitely I believe it's a 73 passenger. Not 100%, but it's most everything works on this bus. And it was rescued by Todd Pemberton, and it was a motorhome, and now it's a beautiful bus. Back to his school bus. He brought it back to his school bus. So. This is down to the Red Diamond International 501. Very good motor. Probably got a little bit better gas mileage than the Oxnard, but I wouldn't say a lot better. So push engine, of course. These light fixtures are probably changed later on. Original ones are glass. Come over here on this side, I'll show you the engine. So we're going to walk over here. I got 3 other buses started out of Frank's collection, and we're going to show you a variety. First bus is Buckeye Union High School District. There was 2 buses ordered to the spec. There was bus 15 and bus 16. Bus 16's been crushed. Bus 15 has a 855-300 horsepower big cam Cummins. It is have an Allison automatic transmission in it. Somebody will know. Bus was ordered with a very expensive wraparound windshield. It's a 1986, and yeah, it's a very powerful bus. The main attraction to this bus is the interior. Not only do you have a beautiful dash set up. The wood grain dash came out in 1978. They only had the black on that for 1 year, and then they went black again in 87. 5WL stainless steel. This was one of those things, I guess I hear stories about the eccentric so-called transportation director that wanted to be really different and ordered this, which I think is kind of cool. has, like I said, it has the big cam compass. And this bus is fun to drive. It is a tandem axle. I don't know if that came in the video, but being that it's a tandem axle, there is probably 10 to 12% of tandem axles made that Crown made. Everything else was just non-tandem. But under now, and we're going to go on to this bus here, 3. This is a 1967, delivered to Sweetwater, and it was original number 9. It has a 262. However, originally it did not have a turbo. So that got put on later, probably with an engine rebuild or just a new engine entirely. It has a 5-speed forward transmission. So originally this bus was just a 220, naturally aspirated. So this bus, probably my favorite one in the fleet. It just brings back childhood memories for me. And got the low seats. It all has original seats in here. All the seats are 5-speed. I kind of like the fact that it was never upgraded to a 10. You know, some people say that they're all about 10 speeds, but this has the side switches. The switches on the side were from 1961 to 1972. And just love that Cummins sound, that classic Cummins. But the ceilings were repainted, I believe, by the private school or Sweetwater right in the end. They also repainted it black on the dash, which was also more of an armory green, and the ceiling was more of a lime or pea green. And that got redone right around that time. So I don't know who did it, but I'm glad they did it because they did a nice job. And the private school got it, and then Josh got it, and now Frank has it. So hasn't been in too many hands, and it's all been kept original and not messed with. So, which is a good thing. Bus here, which was delivered to Red Bluff Union High School, Joint Union High School District. It's a 1984. It has a 671 Detroit. I don't have the engine compartment open, but I'll open it. It has a 671 Detroit, and I believe it's a turbo. I'm going to turn on the 4-ways. I don't believe I have to get the headlights hooked up. I bought a switch, floor switch, because the floor switch is bad. So I need to tackle the switches in this bus. It's one of my next projects. I'm going to replace every switch on the dash. So basically this bus has been very well cared for. I was told this was their only Crown that they had. I don't know that for a fact, but 5-speed. And I drove this bus back from Reading, and it's a driver. It's a sweet bus, really nice, and it has the original seats in here, high back seats. So this bus here is just. This one here is probably my second most favorite. It is a 1955, and it was originally delivered to Magnolia, School District, which is an elementary school district down in Anaheim. Somewhere around 1970, it sold to a district up in Sebastopol. And sometime when they got rid of it, a private owner bought it and had intentions and plans on fixing it up and all of that. And the seats were taken out, all but 6. But it was, it probably sat for at least 10 years, maybe longer. So you know what happens when things just sit and they don't run or move or go anywhere. But this here is, it's just got some beauty to it. The paint was in rough shape. We kind of brought it back to life with the compound. Put in these optional the fog lights that would have been there back in the day. Pretty much on every 50s Crown had them, maybe even early 60s. Yeah, so it had those are the original style crossovers. This bus does not run right currently. But I will show you that that this bus is got so much character. It has it is a true Crown super coach in every sense of the word, every sense of the meaning. And the seats, we reseated all of these, put all seats in this bus. It only, like I said, there's only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 seats that were original. Everything else, these seats came out of the Montebello Crown, Montebello 35. Those seats were taken out. Kelly Laponzi pretty much let us have them. Yeah, she kept a couple, and then, but we're grateful we got what we got, because this bus would not be seated if that were the case. So, but yeah, a lot of neat stuff. You know, just the down to the curved steps. You know, that's just really a neat, cool thing with these Crowns. But you know, when Crown lowered their windshield in 1960, late 60, early 61, you know, the nostalgia kind of gets stripped away. But like I said, this is a Crown in every sense of the word. The first year they came out with this badge was 1955. So anyhow, so it'll be back on the road. It's got a 220 Cummins. Originally had a 590 Hallscott gasoline engine. So the 220 was put in, I'm not sure, somewhere between 68 and 72. I would imagine that's when they were doing a lot of the swaps. And yeah, I'm sure, I don't know if Magnolia did it or Sebastopol did it, but we're glad it has a 220. And it's got the 5-speed, but it's actually a 5-speed is what they call it, but 4 gears with a granny. So call it whatever you want. And then we're going to go, this bus here is a 1990 Crown from Turlock Schools. And it was made in June of 1990. So it was one of the last ones. And I'm going to shut the battery off real quick. This bus was kind of like a General Electric creation, as we call it, because General Electric started to, they wanted to recoup as much of their money as possible. So what they ended up doing was they're trying to make the bus more profitable to recoup a lot of their money. So this bus is a 40-footer. And you say 40-footer, it should be a tandem axle, but we call these long neck Crowns. And they basically have 2 axles, and they have an extra amount stretched in the front of the front axle and an extra in the back. And so the turning points are different. You could definitely tell the difference. I'm going to show you the inside. This has a 671 turbo Detroit. A transmission, I believe it's an Allison 643, which is, as you all well know, slow off the line. And it's got the hatchet top, and this one I need to fix because it blew off during the rainstorm. So we'll have to look into that. But anyways, I think it goes the other way. At any rate, so but yeah, this is a very clean bus. There was 2 buses like this at Turlock. 51, I believe, was the other number, and this is 55. And you know, like when Fresno got 78 and 79, it's their identical buses. Nobody was allowed to drive them except very highly experienced people. So the same thing with Turlock. When Frank was at Turlock, you know, nobody was allowed to touch these things. So anyhow, so that's kind of how that goes. And this has the newer dash. This dash came out in 1987. It has the backlit lights. Clovis had 3 of them, and when they first got theirs, and I thought I died and gone to heaven when I seen them. I thought it was the coolest thing since sliced bread. But you know, they really look cool. And some people are like, I like the wood grain better, but we all have our favorite stuff. And but yeah, it's a fun bus to drive. Very, very smooth because you're not riding on the axle, so it's very comfortable to drive. Hello, little dog. So we're going to go over here. Those buses that I just don't know anything about. I know it's a Carpenter. I know it's an International. It used to be a 5-speed, converted to an automatic, and it's from Washington State. Clover Park, school district number 400, unit number 76. This is one of the many buses that California, when they had their desegregation project, Gillig overproduced, or it was California ordered more and then backed out and said, oh, you know, we don't need this many. One of the two. Nevertheless, Gillig was stuck with a lot of buses. So Washington State says, yes, we'll buy those buses, but we want the ambers, the 8-way crossovers. We want these big mirrors. I believe it also had a yellow fog light and the gate, and then the stop panel on the side. So this has, you know, it has the shifter, more shifter on the dash. Most of them are on, what you call it? They're on tripods. And but this is this Gillig came with high back seats. This is a 1978. However, when it was originally produced, I believe it was sitting for a while at Gillig because it still has this upright pole. That pole is used for buses that had low back seats. And basically, Frank put these seats in, and I thought it would be a great idea because look how nice it looks. I just think it looks really good, especially with the modesty panel with the upright pole. Because what it did have, it had those high back seats, and then it had a modesty panel right here that was high back in front of this, so it was really odd looking. This is a really good way, a really good look. If you get a shot of the dash and step back here, you can see the what we got going on with the indicators on top. Those are going to be hooked up, and one's going to be for the amber, one's going to be for the red, and the white one just might be for a decoration or an interior light. But yeah, this has the dashboard that came out in 1973, and they made this dashboard until the very end. However, it was only green up until late 1979. We're going to shut this off so we don't forget. Okay. With the high back seats, this bus originally came from a school district, an elementary school district called Campbell Elementary School District. And I think it was number 6 there too. I don't know, I can't remember. Has a 5-speed transmission, and it has an 855 big cam Cummins. So this bus moves, especially because it's a 5-speed. I've driven 10-speed Cummins, I've driven big cam Cummins, I've driven 5 speeds. The 5 speeds seem to have a lot more oomph, you know. 10 speeds, you got more gears. So it's a bigger transmission, you're trying to turn more too. So I always tell people, if you want more power out of an 855, a 5-speed's the way to go. And they could be like, huh? But it's got the crossovers going, and it's just a beautiful bus. Especially if you go inside and look at the dash. This bus came out of school bus service last year. This is probably one of the more recent acquisitions on school bus service. Bus has always been pretty well cared for. You know, it went from Campbell Elementary School District to, I believe there was another one in between, but I know Forest Lake School District had it for quite a bit of a time. And they had the high back seats. This reminds me a lot of the buses that I rode in school at Fresno Unified. They had a lot of 1978s, 22 of them. And yeah, I just, you know, classic Gillig. Classic Gillig. And I am going to get this bus right here. This bus has got a mind of its own. It is from Corning Union School District, and it has a Road Ranger RT610 transmission, which is a smaller Road Ranger 10-speed and not the big 910. It has a 3208 cat engine pusher and non-synchronized transmission. So you got to know your craft driving this bus. It does have a clutch brake. It is I wouldn't say it's for the faint of heart to drive that bus. And we're going to look at the inside of it. I'm going to turn on the lights. So this bus was in Corning for about 4 years until the private school got it. It was a Baptist private school down in Southern California. Apparently, when Corning bought, I think 4 of these, they kept burning up clutches. And so they said no more, and they just sold them. And the private school had it for a while, and then Al Jennings bought it. After Al Jennings bought it, somebody in Arizona, I can't remember his name, bought it, and now Frank has it. Thankfully. Because this bus they had all the seats ripped out of it, and you know, it's too much of a beautiful bus. It's a 1974, and got a lot of neat stuff. Come on inside and we'll look at it. There's a lot of nice touches in this bus. It's got the 1973 to 1982 dash. The color goes up to late 79, the pistachio green. The gear shift is kind of interesting because I took that splitter off and I took it to work and high polished it on the buffing wheel in the jewelry store I work at. And then I got payphone cord protector around the air supply lines just to kind of jazz it up a little bit. And then I took this off, this bracket, and polished it because it was just all grody looking. So this has one of the original air seats, and that brake release was added on afterwards. It probably had the Williams flip lever like all of them did, and you know, certain things that you just can't find anymore. So the private school got creative and put that lever in. I believe that is actually a Williams lever though, but not exactly like what would have been there. So this is, like I said, it's a push engine, and fun bus to drive. Very fun bus to drive. I don't drive it that much, but it is a lot of fun. And I'm going to shut her down. Let's do this. Let's look at the engine. And then we're going to go to another. It's from Oxnard Union School District. I'm going to turn on the lights. Classic look. The stacked headlights. Actually, those are fog lights down below. Those will be yellow again. This bus is a 1961. Oxnard had 4 or 5. There's only 2 in existence that are school bus yellow. One's number 23, and then this one's number 27. So Oxnard had this, and then I'm not sure of the whole lineage, but a band bought it, maybe from Oxnard. Band bought it, and musicians, and they had all their stuff in there. And then Mark Dimmler bought it from the band, and then Frank bought it from Mark Dimmler. So, but originally, this bus had a 779 Hallscott. It's a big Hallscott. So we're talking 2 miles per gallon. So it was repowered with the Detroit sometime, I believe it was taxed at 1985. When they did that, they put a whole new steering, probably a new front axle, but a new steering with power steering. Because I believe this bus did not come with power steering. Because that steering wheel is much newer, and so is the column. And if you go inside, we'll look at different things. Brandon put the heavier injectors on here, so that's why he has that really raspy sound that I'll show you. And bus was also painted with the newer pink scheme in 1985 with the black dash. This bus originally, the ceiling and the dash was all pea green, like pea soup green. So, but yeah, it's been well cared for. You know, it has an ivory steering wheel, which is good, but it's not the original. But they came out with these in 1983. So, but I will show you the crafty things that Brandon did to this bus. Straight pipe Detroit large injectors. Gives it a lot of power. So again, these seats did not have stainless steel on them. They were painted metal. Stainless steel was available, but you had to pay extra for it. So I'm going to shut her down. I'll let it run for a while now. We're going to go next door where we have, oh yeah, next door we have Nantka Unified School District number 27. It is a 1971. It has a 220 Cummins with a 5-speed transmission. Take a look at this dash. This dash, well, the last year for that dash was 1972. Now, I've had a lot of Gillig lovers and arguably tell me that that was the last real Gillig dash. I like it. It's metal. It's cool. I like the newer ones too. I'm impartial to both. You know, I like them both about the same. Both have their pluses and minuses, but I mean, this is another classic Gillig in every sense of the word. You have a 220 Cummins 5-speed, you know, and we were so fortunate that, you know, we got to go to school in these. And not everybody did. I'm going to shut this one down. That's Nantka number 27. This bus here is Live Oak. It was produced in 1975, but delivered and registered in January of 1976. So it is a 76, according to the roster. It has a 671 naturally aspirated Detroit. Battery's currently dead, so I can't get it running right this second. But it's worth a look. It has an Argo tachometer and speedometer. It's just neat. It's this bus. If you saw this bus when we first got it, it would have blown your mind to see what it looks like today. A lot of effort and a lot of people have made this back into a school bus, and yeah, I can't even begin. I could do a whole album on this bus just on the progress of it. You know, you would never believe it was the bus. So, but yeah, it's got the old school dash. It's got the lights are in a different spot because they kind of had things moved around. But all in all, it's a fun bus to drive. I mean, it's not a get up and go bus, but it's, you know, has a Detroit, and you know, you can do the speed limit. Probably needs a tune up for sure, but this one here that's the original brake lever right here. So it needed to be replaced. So Brandon came up with a good idea to put in this one here, so as not to change or get off of the you know, the original look. So he was keeping historic preservation in mind, which was good. I always appreciate that. And there's only so many of these buses left, and more of them keep going to Okay, so this bus here, can't get it started because it's got batteries, but this is probably the most powerful, without a joke, school bus I've ever driven. It has an 855 400 horsepower, which means it has a 400 fuel pump, bigger injectors, bigger fuel rails. This thing goes. It has an air throttle we need to fix because I think it's got a leak in it to where it wants to climb and get away from you. But aside from that, it's a 10-speed. Originally delivered to Oro Madre Unified School District in 1977. This was made before high back seats. So I think March of 77. High backs became April of 77. So 10-speed transmission. Oro Madre had it, and then Amador Unified had it, but there were some issues with Amador. I've heard all kinds of things about them not being able to keep the bus, you know, properly maintained. I don't know if the Highway Patrol, you know, forced them out of the fleet. I don't know, but at any rate, Amador had it, and then the casino got it, Jackson Rancheria. And they had it. They did some work to it, and yeah. So basically, you know, it's come a long ways. So got the Road Ranger plate put back on the dash. It's a metal plate, you know, Gillig used with a white background, and so it had one of those funky shifters on here, so I put the old school shifter on here, one of my old resin balls, but I put that on there, and yeah, it's a project, a long-term project. It's gonna get finished. It is fun to drive. More power, I'll tell you. It's got an intense amount of power. That's right here is Oak Gillig School District, 1968. It's got a 220 naturally aspirated Cummins. Of course, that's what it is, 220 Cummins, with a 5-speed forward. Now you can see it a little bit on the oil pan side of the Cummins down there, but this one here did battery issues, so we're trying to get it going, and it needs new battery. So this bus here, 1968, like I said, Frank had the seat reupholstered. This has an awesome sound. and it is a tandem. I don't know percentage-wise how many tandems Gillig actually made, but I would say probably about the same as Crown. You know, there's 2 or 3 here in the fleet, so, and but yeah, they're it's a work in progress. But nothing much really has to be done to this bus. As you can see, it's got the piping on the seats. Those are seat covers, by the way. Originally, underneath, it has stainless steel. The piping was probably put on with the seat covers. It is Gillig, but probably for protection because it has what they call teeth breakers. This bus is a 1980 Gillig, originally delivered to Daire Unified School District. Sometime in late '79, they lowered the windows. That was one of the things after the Gillig family, Gillig brothers, sold off. Eventually, the new owners decided to do this look, this double sash. A lot of these are all aluminum siding. Not all of them, most of them. And they got rid of the air dam up there. That was one of the Gillig features I really like. They got rid of the air dam. Overall, still a classic though. You know, so this late 1979, I'd probably say, if I had to guess, maybe October, November of '79 to 1982, when they quit making this style, which we call the Gillig Classic School Bus, and they went to the Phantom. But, you know, it has the fog lights. Reminds me a little bit of a Washington bus. We're going to go look at the engine. Changes that were made. The dash, the fiberglass portion is the same as it was in '73. However, in late '79, they went to black with a wood grain dash instead of that 5WL stainless steel. So, you know, there was some other things too, like this, and it was built at an angle. They took the classic Gillig lining out. They have this kind of like bed liner looking speckled stuff. So, you know, it just new and modern, you know, something different. And so if you look behind you, you can kind of see on the dashboard, you know, the different characteristics. You know, a lot of Peterbilts had those lights with that rubber protector around. A lot of Peterbilt 379, 359, that kind of thing. Actually 359, because 379 seems like a Peter. But yeah, it's cool. It's a cool bus. Air throttle. Stone Bennett shifter, and just neat. I mean, it's something to have in a collection. I mean, you know, it's there's just you know, cool stuff. That's the Williams air release that we just showed you, and yeah, another cool bus. We're going to go back here to a 1961 Gillig. It It is, this bus is a 1961. It was delivered to the Pierce Elementary School District, or Pierce Joint Union High School District, which is down elementary, Pierce Union. But they had, I believe, 2 or 3 of these buses. It has the coolest, the most raunchiest Cummins engine I've ever heard in my life. And I'm going to let you hear it. Raunchy. This bus was taken over or bought by a church, and they did paint the outside of this. They painted it blue. They painted the inside blue. A lot of neat characteristics, because the siding over there on the side below the driver's window is all 5WL stainless steel. There is so much 5WL stainless steel in this bus that you would go crazy if you love 5WL. There's just a lot of, you know, Gillig did a lot of those, what you call those heavy-duty industrial looking stuff that I really, really like. So, like the high-speed transmission. I haven't gotten this bus on the road. It has a couple issues, but nothing major. I just haven't gotten it out. But yeah, this is a gem. This is a gem. This bus only has outward opening doors. I gotta put it on here. Doors open out only. It was optional. I mean, my grandpa's 46 had inward opening doors. Some people tell me, oh no, they didn't come out until the 60s. No, they always had them, inward, outward, just however you want. Sometimes it was one in, one out, which is really odd, but Gillig did a lot of things. Okay, this bus, 1977. This was made before the high back seats came into effect. This bus was, well, we believe it was Columbia School District up by Reading, somewhere up there. Not sure, honestly. But this bus, I'm gonna turn on the lights. There were a lot of these Gilligs produced with the rear cat pusher, and this has a 3208, and it has a Spicer 5-speed, and just a beautiful bus, always been well cared for. Mark Daimler got it from, I don't know where Mark Daimler got it from, but it didn't have any seats. There again, somebody took all the seats out. Didn't have seats. Mark got seats for it from another bus that was made in the 60s, I believe, 50s. Seated it completely. And then Frank got it from Mark. And just a beautiful bus, a lot of fun to drive, very solid, everything works. You know, we can't ask for more than that. Look at the side here, and it's beautiful. One thing I did change on here though is I did put the original Daire on here. I don't know why, but optional heated mirror, which was optional back in those days, but there's nothing as cool looking as the D mirror for Gillig. So I put the Daire mirror back on there. But yeah, let's go inside and look at the dash. Stuff. I mean, it you know, and a very fun bus to drive. Very easy bus to drive. You know, it has one of those types of you know, engine transmission setups that you just can't go wrong with. It just, you know, you just got to know the backward shift and be okay with the backward shift. You know, but very cool, very fun, very user friendly. But a beautiful collection Frank has. All these buses, you know, and they're just, everyone is so different from one to the next. I mean, there's something to like. The way Gillig spec'd this bus is different from that bus and different from that bus and that bus from whatever school district that wanted their buses, because they were custom, you know. Gilligs and Crowns were custom. And that's what makes these things so unique. So we can kind of look over here. There's another one I'd like to show you, which was originally delivered to Oakdale. Be careful. Originally delivered to Oakdale, and it's one of the buses Frank likes to drive the most. Originally delivered to Oakdale in 1971, and somewhere, some way, somehow, Pixley got it. I don't know where that ties in exactly, but we have it labeled as Pixley number 8. Originally, it was Oakdale Joint Unified, and it was 206, I believe. And it had the striped bumper. And this one here is got a 3208 with a 5-speed splicer. Very clean. Now this, what I like about this bus is it has that Stanley Thermos hammer tone bluish green paint. And I believe with Gillig, you could get different paint options back in the day, whereas Crown, I believe it was only just the one, but whatever was for that year. But unless you really wanted something different, I'm sure they would have done it. But yeah, 3208, 5-speed splicer. This is also a fun bus to drive. It has the old style dash that they had from 1958, I believe, 1958 or 59 to 1972. And like I said, some people swear up and down that that is the real Gillig dash, but I like them all the same. It has an air throttle. That was an upgrade later. This bus did not come with an air throttle. And it has the original Motorola radio system that Oakdale used in all their buses. And it was just left there. I mean, how cool is that? So, and that's pretty much it for the fleet. And, you know, and we got one in the back, I believe. Oh, yeah, I forgot about the one in the back. This bus, number number 10. We'll start with number 10. This is a 1987 Gillig Phantom. And this bus it's kind of like a unicorn in a way, just because I've never seen anything like it. It has a 3208 cat, a 10-speed transmission. How many Gillig Phantoms have you seen with a 10-speed? This is going to be it. This is 10-speed from the factory. When the driver was sick, nobody was allowed to drive this bus because nobody really knew how. And that's something. Not only is it a rear pusher, it has a forward regular shifting, no reverse shift pattern. So it shifts like it had a midship engine. So, I mean, that's pretty cool in and of itself because you just don't see, but it is a cable shifter. This is a bus I've not experimented with. I haven't gotten down the road. It just, people have driven it. I noticed that the gear shift, when you shift it, you kind of give you perspective. It has to go way down to the floor on some of these, like all the way down here. I'm not about that. But it is cool. It's got a lot of neat features. I mean, this is, if you're a Gillig lover, you have to have this. It has to be in your fleet. Just, Gillig Phantom, 1987, 3208, Road Ranger 10-speed, RT910. RT910 is the bigger transmission. That's true. This bus here is a 93 Gillig Phantom. One of the last ones ever made. I believe that Gillig scrounged up enough parts in 93 to make 6 of them, or 5 of them. That's when they had the 8-way system. It has a 6V92 Detroit, and it has an automatic transmission. Very unique. And like I said, one of the very last ones ever made. It could have been the last one made. It's one of the last 5 or 6. But it could have been the last. Very last. But I will show you that the dash system setup is different than that of an 87. It's neat looking. And it's just, like I said, it's another rare Gillig. So, and it drives smooth. I've driven it once, a couple of years, 3 years ago. And it has a really smooth drive. Airbags. It rides like a Cadillac. I don't know if this is what they call the low boy or not, or the low floor. But I will tell you that, students that rode this bus to school, probably got put to sleep. But, double sash windows, everything. Come here, little dog. So. Come here. This next bus, I really don't know much about. All as I know, it belongs to Chris Larson. It is from Oroville Union High School District. I don't know if this is... So, here we go. So this bus right here is Chris Larson's bus. Originally from Oroville Union High School District. It was in a slow process of being converted, but Chris Larson is in the process of saving it. This is a 1975 3208 5-speed, and really cool bus. Needs a little bit of TLC and some parts and things like that, but we can help them out with that. But yeah, it's just got a cool setup. It has this type of tachometer. I don't know if that's an Argo or not, but side switches. Has the Williams switch lever for the air brakes. and can't start it because it needs to be started and hasn't been started in a long time. So, but a true classic Gillig, true classic. I'm gonna cover it back up. So yeah, it's needs some new ones of these. But yeah, it's just very aesthetically pleasing to look at. It's got everything's there. It does have this. I don't know if this was an add-on or not. Chris would know. I'm sure Chris would prefer the D mirror. He does like the D mirror like I do. So yeah, that pretty much wraps it up for the buses.